What juxtaposition?
So we're looking at something this week, a little pop culture-y, but it is it's something that I don't think anyone expected.
Yeah, I'd like to give a little backstory on it.
Yeah, sure.
Just the origins of it. A while back, I believe last year, Warner Brothers, so DC, made a Flintstones comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a reasonable amount of success. Kind of flew under the radar, didn't do anything too out of the box as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
So this year they decided to revive another Hanna-Barbera property. Makes sense, right? You capitalize on one success, lead it right into another. So,
right, yeah, if it worked the first time, sort of,
yeah.
There's no reason why it wouldn't work again.
So the one that they picked was a little strange to me, that they went this direction when you have all of Hanna-Barbera to work with. They went with Snagglepuss.
Snagglepuss.
Notable pink cat that is not the Pink Panther.
I kept screwing up the name. I'm like, yeah, Pink Panther. No, Snagglepuss. Fuck.
But I feel like I should tell the audience, because if I say it's a pink cat, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's a Pink Panther." No, it's not.
No.
It's he wore a hat, a top hat of sorts.
Uh-huh.
And a collar.
And so they're doing something. Okay. Right, so more Snagglepuss. Snagglepuss's fans' dream.
All two of them.
Because those exist. They're probably on par with as many Heck fans as there are.
Yeah, right? We're as big
so,
as Snagglepuss, bro.
Yeah, I'm just going to read the title of the article that you sent me.
Again, links in the description.
Links in the description. If you're going to reinvent something in the modern day, right, it's got to have a little bit of modern flair. You got to bring it up to speed, yeah? I think that's a pretty well-accepted thing in fiction and in different types of media, yeah?
Yeah, I
fair?
would say so. Makes sense.
Here's the title of the article, cartoonbrew.com. Warner Brothers reboots Snagglepuss as a gay playwright being hunted by the U.S. government. So, I have a problem with this. Not because I am against the idea of having a gay playwright being hunted by the U.S. government as the basis of your story. Right? But I think it is lazy to slap it on a character that was not... This is not the intention of Snagglepuss.
No, I mean, I feel like the intention of Hanna-Barbera cartoons was never to be deep.
No, I mean, it's a lot of, like... It's like that slapstick, the very goofy, And I understand rebooting it. Again, I think all things should be able to be rebooted only because the original stays, right? If they reboot Snagglepuss into like a new Flash animation cartoon on a Cartoon Network, it's fine, right? But I think shoehorning all of this story into it is dishonest and disingenuous to the original story or the original idea or vision for Snagglepuss, which is a ridiculous sentence.
Well, because, again, no one's ever taken Snagglepuss seriously in history.
Yeah, and the problem is DC Comics does this thing where they just slap social, political agenda on top of stuff that already exists. They did it with the Green Lantern a certain number of years ago, and it was a disaster.
Now, I'll put this out that I really have no abject problem with this. My interest is more in the response to it. Yeah? And it fascinates me that the response is almost nothing about the commentary behind this, and almost entirely about the art.
Yeah, and the art style is a very sketchy, but also very detailed. It looks good, like in my opinion.
It looks like a comic book.
It looks good, yeah. But instead of getting on it for like, oh, that's lazy, I believe that if you have an idea like this, you got to make it its own thing, and that way you have full creative license, right? Because if you're rebooting something, you have to stay at least partially faithful to the original. Big example is when they rebooted The Watchmen into the movie. They stayed as faithful as they could until they changed something for a plot reason. Because giant alien vagina squid is not a good... That's a bad part in the comic. I think a lot of people agree that that's stupid. So the change that they made in the movie made sense.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it actually is Snagglepuss, because just from the early releases, like press releases and images that have come online, it's Snagglepuss in image, but I'm kind of curious to see. It's kind of like a don't judge a book by its cover. You don't want to judge something until the final product comes out. I want to see how they actually incorporate, like, what Snagglepuss actually was, as far as, like, it was a Hanna-Barbera, a comedy, like, lighthearted, at times a chase cartoon.
Yeah.
So I want to see how and if they incorporate that, because if they don't, it seems like, why would you make it this property and not just create an original intellectual property?
Yeah, from what I'm seeing right now, from what I understand about like the creative process, and I myself am a writer, and so I think it looks like what they're doing is really just slapping an idea onto a pre-existing property, which is bullshit. However, if they can do it well, I think it can succeed. I just think from what we know right now, it is going to be a disaster. I think they'll do well financially. DC Comics has been doing okay. Warner Brothers has been doing okay. I don't think it's going to murder them financially. This is a very low-risk thing, because, like we said earlier, who gives a shit about Snagglepuss?
Yeah, I think the production of it is low enough risk where if the reward is what they think it might be, then it's worth doing. So as a business move, yeah, it makes sense. And honestly, even as off the wall as it sounds so off the wall that I almost want to follow it through and see what it is. So as much as I might not be purchasing these comics, I will probably be at least following them. So that's more than I could say about, any other DC comic at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm much on the same page where if this is a big if this is good enough to read, if this is worth listening to or reading or whatever, I'll definitely pay money to look at it, because I want to see them do this. I think they can. It's going to be very, very hard, and honestly, it's never going to live up to what you could make if you didn't just slap a property on top of it.
Hi, my name is Ned Toast, resident robotic companion at Heck. If you liked this clip from the Vestibule of Heck podcast, consider checking out the full podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. Also go check out our Facebook page and the site itself, heckmedia.com. Existence hurts, please make it stop.